Okay, day 83. This is part three. This is going to be a fun one. I had one of the viewers criticize me and say, "Oh, you're kind of like you're doing the UFO disease or whatever, where you keep convincing yourself and you get further out in outer space, or something, Area 51 type thing." And I would say no. I actually think I'm more like the Stinger missile here, which is Stinger missile doesn't know coordinates to go at. It just needs to know, should I go left or should I go right? But because it reiterates so many times, it follows and hits the target. That's how. So you could even go off in this direction with a Stinger missile. It's going to hit the target every time. So that's this investigation. If I make a really big mistake, one of my commenters will correct me, and I'll hit the target. So again, it's not me, it's the contributors. And I liken it to being on Jeffrey Epstein's helicopter here, DynCorp helicopter. I'm flying in from New York. The first thing I'm going to see is the United Nations building. I'm not going to see the Feinberg mansion here. I'm not going to see the Council on Foreign Relations building. But as I get closer in, I'm going to get a good view of how close this mansion is to the Council on Foreign Relations building. And I'll show you that view. Here's 67th Street, where his mansion is, right here. And here's Pratt House, right here, where the Council on Foreign Relations is. So I can be way off and think that the Egyptian mansion is in Egypt, but then somebody tells me, no, it's on 67th, it's in New York. So I just looked it up and said, oh, there it is, it's on 67th. It's a 2-minute walk, if that. And I'll tell you right now, I already saw the cover story about the $15 million upgrade and how much it cost, and the cover story about the leaks and everything. I even think there's a helicopter port on top of here. I'll bet Jeffrey's helicopter has landed there on top of it. So now people can start watching helicopter activity here. But I'm going to say this is a brownstone. This is a brownstone operation. I'm going to say it right now. And I'm going to also say that because of what I know about the Long Island serial killer and the Council on Foreign Relations, I'm going to say it's DynCorp. I'm not saying it's Feinberg, but I'm saying that DynCorp is linked through Council on Foreign Relations to the Long Island serial killings. Okay, so I think I'm coming in for a landing here. This is Kissinger's neighborhood right over here by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I'm not saying Kissinger is involved in those murders, but I'm just saying that's a pretty close walk. And the $15 million, it's got cameras in every corner of that building, and it's got sound devices in every corner of that building. I'll guarantee it. So again, this is the Stinger heat-seeking missile thing. I'm not here. There is target right there on 67th Street. So like I said, follow the guys going in and out of East 67th Street, in and out of Feinberg Mansion, and you're going to find the brownstone victims, which are going to be the Middle East princes, and you're going to find their hospitality suite there, and that's where the girls were. And ask if you have a family member that's missing, ask them if they have ever been to the Feinberg Mansion. That's all I'm asking. Has Rahman ever been there? And has Asfari ever been there? Look and see if there's pictures. I'll bet there's pictures. And I know his dad has been there. I know his dad. And again, Muslim Brotherhood. It used to be the Egyptian mission. And that's where the Muslim Brotherhood was based, in New York. And that's where Huma Abedin, 20 years ago, started going to. So this all just keeps coming together. If it becomes more and more obvious to me, but maybe that's not something that's obvious. Why do I keep harping on DynCorp? Well, women keep getting gang raped by police forces. Women keep dying of weird circumstances. Monica Peterson. The same tactics keep being used by the FBI by the counterterrorism division of the FBI against the FBI, against police forces, threatening police forces. Started in New York, going to start in the financial capital. This is where he started. Then moved to D.C. Once you have the donors taken care of, intimidated in New York with all the, insider trading. Now we've got all the goods on them. We're going to do sex exploitation or sex entrapment there. We're going to move to Washington and do the politicians, and we're going to do the generals. Same exact thing. Same exact thing that we did with NATO. Same exact thing 20 years ago. So, like I said, why do I focus in on saying DynCorp? Because she's dead, why do I say Haiti? Because she died in Haiti. She was looking for something. Why do I say that hospital? Because it's out in the middle of nowhere. Why would they build the hospital out in the middle of nowhere when Port-au-Prince is the thing that needs the million population where the earthquake was? Why build a hospital out in the middle of nowhere? So politicians keep saying, why are we giving contracts to sex traffickers? I wasn't the first. Cynthia McKinney was. News articles keep coming out. People keep writing books. This is Laura Dickinson's book. I always plug the authors. I like to plug the authors. Volkovic, it shouldn't be there. That was people. Anyway, sorry about the messed up slide. But anyway, DynCorp in Mexico, you're going to find that all of these businesses were going to be DynCorp operations where they killed or destroyed, sexually lured the owners of the businesses and said, hey, I got a deal for you. We'll get you out of this, but the business is going to go away. And that was his brother. And now you're going to find in the last 8 years, 195% interest rates all through Central America and South America. It's just the signature just keeps repeating, Again, 40 kids in one lawsuit said it. Another 102 Jane Does said it in the other lawsuit. And there's another New York case that I don't know about. She's been saying it for 11 years, Conchita Sarnoff. Drumheller talks about it, brownstone operations. That's his number one thing. So all I ask is, if you publish the 650,000 emails, Mr. McCabe, I'm talking directly to you. If you publish the 650,000 emails and you leave me alone and you get me off your JTTF list, and I realize I was a pain protesting it, but if you get me off your list, publish the 650,000 emails, I'm going to drop the whole thing with DynCorp. I know that's terrible for my listeners to hear because there's so many girls and everything being murdered and so forth, but I think there's enough exposure now that they're going to have to clean it up. But I'm really, this is me being selfish for my family, as I would like to be taken off the JTTF target list, okay? And the same list that Myron May was on for exposing this, for exposing the Jeff Epstein, Zorro, he had a Zorro ranch out in New Mexico. The same guy, the Myron May, who was exposing the assistant district attorney of New Mexico, he was the next Barack Obama. He was on his way up, and then all of a sudden his life went to nothing because him. The disruption campaign that he did, disrupt. So that's what I'm saying. It's just the 650,000 emails. I think I've done my part. Some other people are going to have to do the rest of this. I just want off this list, okay? That's the real motivation. If everybody's wondering about my motivation, that's the motivation. And I would like to see the agents go to Haiti. I'd like to see the 200 agents go to Haiti to at least get the children that still are alive, okay? Again, police chief, exploitation, it says it in the emails, okay? So I'm not I don't know how long you can do, you realize how close you are to the Brownstone operation and the Council of Foreign Relations. I mean, he really could drive up there in 10 minutes. Here's the 19 missing State Department emails, and this shows you the power of open research. Somebody was, I said in the last email, this is like a 2-hour turnaround. I said, give me a couple more names. And he said, Jack Lew, the contributor. And I'm like, of course, I've been saying Jack Lew all along. He's the guy who blocked all the Benghazi calls. And then, of course, the other one who blocked the calls was the National Security Advisor. That was McDonough. That was Dennis McDonough. There's 2 more. And then I thought, well, whose calls were they blocking? Whose emails? The 600 emails last week that he was. It's going to be the first guy on this list is going to be Christopher Stevens. He worked for the State Department. He was the ambassador. So it's Lew, McDonough, And the other guy on this list is Christopher Stevens. They're withholding Christopher Stevens' name. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So judges keep sealing records. Judges keep sealing records where people are involved in this activity, taking people out to the parties, to Epstein's parties. So that's why I keep focusing in. I didn't start out with DynCorp. That was given to me by the contributors. I have just keep following and keep self-correcting when the contributors correct me. It's going to hit. The stinger is going to hit right on. It's going to be this group of people. There's going to be 3 or 4 more people from this list of Hillary's cabinet that's going to round out the list. So I'm going to add Dennis McDonough, I'm going to add Jack Lew, and I'm going to add Christopher Stevens to that list, and I think that'll give me 4 or 5 more. So, and then we'll go from there. All right, that's it for today.